Today I'm going to make an excellent pizza with a minimum investment of time and effort, thanks in part to the wonders of instant yeast. You can wake up in the morning, decide you just have to have pizza for lunch, and still produce a praiseworthy pizza with a few common ingredients and no prior preparation. I'm going to make 2 smallish thin crust pizzas. This is so easy. Combine dry ingredients of 2 1/4 cups all-purpose or bread flour. Now I've got a little bit of whole wheat flour mixed in there, but you can do what you like. A half teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of instant yeast. I use SAF instant yeast because it works really well. And then mix that up. Now add 3/4 cups of lukewarm water. That's water that's about 85, 90 degrees. Or just warm to the touch. And mix that up a little bit. And then add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. This dough is very supple and pliable, so it's real easy to knead with your fingers. This dough is a little on the wet side, so I am going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour in and dust my fingers so that I can knead it without the dough sticking excessively to my hands. You can also just pick it up and knead it in the air, as I like to do. Just folding it over on itself and rotating it and repeating that process. It's a great way to get a good feel for the dough anyway. And you can see this dough is starting to get real smooth and elastic. So I knead the dough for 4 or 5 minutes like this. Now I'm going to divide the dough in half and place in a well-oiled bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and let it sit in a warm place until it about doubles in volume. I'm only going to bake 1 pizza today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these dough balls and place it in a small bowl and coat it with oil so it doesn't dry out, and put it in a plastic, cover it with plastic, and store it in the refrigerator or possibly the freezer depending on when I want to bake it. And then I'll take the one I'm going to bake with today and oil this bowl, coat it, and cover it with plastic and let it sit at room temperature. The more time you give your dough to rise, or proof as it's also referred to, the more the flavor of the grain has a chance to develop. You can accomplish that easily enough with this recipe by just placing the dough at this stage into the fridge overnight. Then you would just allow it to come to room temperature the next day before preparing it for your toppings. Or you can store the dough directly in the freezer for as long as you like. The next time you want pizza, just make sure you allow several hours for the dough to thaw out and rise. Okay, now that the dough has about doubled, it's been around 2 hours, I'm ready to roll it out, prepare the toppings, and bake it on a preheated pizza stone. So I'll just flour the counter. It's real poofy and has risen quite a bit here. And I'll just put it down there, roll it out. Not exactly round, but it'll work. Now, it's my totally biased opinion that it's not worth baking a pizza at home without a good baking stone. And to get the pizza onto the stone, a pizza peel is quite a handy tool. Now, this is an inexpensive wooden peel, and I'll coat it with a little flour, kind of rub it in, and then sprinkle with a little cornmeal so the pizza will slide more easily off onto the baking stone. Now you want to prepare your pizza right on the peel. And today I'm just going to use a real simple recipe, but an old standby of mine. Whoops, I forgot to put on the olive oil. Well, you know what? I should have sprayed olive oil on the dough. That's why I have this thing here. I just spray it like that. And that'll keep the ingredients from soaking into the dough. So don't forget that part. And I'm going to put on some pineapple chunks, cheese. Now I'll just slide the pizza off the peel onto the stone. And bake for 7 to 10 minutes at 500 to 550 degrees until both the toppings and the crust are golden brown. One of the most important things you're looking for when you're baking a pizza is for the toppings to finish baking the exact same time the crust finishes. So when the cheese turns a golden brown, you also want the crust to be golden brown, and especially underneath. So hopefully the camera can pick up what the bottom of this looks like. That's just about right. So I think this pizza is going to be just fine. Okay, and after a few minutes it's cooled off, slice it up. And I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up, but you should be able to see that the dough is full of small bubbles, so it's kind of light, but it's also crispy and chewy at the same time. So I can guarantee that if you make a pizza like this at home, you're going to have some happy people.